Hello. Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, uh, thank you for coming back. So I'm just having my own internal thing going on right now. Can you guys hear me okay? Just super curious about my video audio levels. All right, so let's get started. Okay. This reading is for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Also for your cross watchers. Also for those of us who find ourselves on this channel without any Piscean anything. You're probably an empath and you're probably needing messages from your soul. Okay. So let's get started. First and foremost, is it low volume? How about now? Is it good now? Testing, testing. Better? How about now? So Kathy says it's good. Free to be We says it's good. But you guys have earbuds. I want to make sure it's good for everybody, even people without earbuds. Okay, so let's get started. What I heard was, I asked what this reading was going to be about, and what I heard has a lot to do with making a decision. The decision is hard to make and hurts so much. So someone's going through something again. Okay. All right. Thank you, Julia. Okay. Sorry. Hold on. All right. Okay. Big speaker. Yeehaw. All right. So we're trying to go ahead and create, alternate everything. Okay. I don't want to have the same type of reading this whole time. I keep pulling the same damn cards in the same direction. Let's turn half. How about we just do this? Like, who cares? Like, like, okay, that's good. That's good. Starting to sweat. Oh my gosh, this is already making me sweat. Here goes. Let's just pull some. And then we'll use this as a clarifier. All right, we're ready, guys. We are ready. Okay. Here goes. Spring is upside down. I'm wondering if some of the growth that we've been experiencing has been very much affected and distorted by the things that we're going through. You know, we have the potential of having a very fruitful learning experience for this spring, but we also have to make sure that what it is we're learning is actually something beneficial for us. Okay. Not just the same lessons over and over and over again. We have to make sure that it's going to count for something positive. If not, I mean, I don't know. It might be the Capricorn in me that just gets super impatient. I'm not about learning the same thing over and over and over and over. That's like a waste of time. You know what I mean? It's a waste of time. So we have to be careful that we don't waste our time. We have to be very, very mindful. Boundaries. Ooh. Are we not are we not like letting people know where our boundaries are? Are we not giving people the opportunity to understand like where our actual healthy boundaries are? This is one thing that I learned about people. When people know where the boundary is, certain types of people will then choose to push that boundary and see how far they can take it. Doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad person. They're just someone who needs to fully understand. And when you let this type of person push the boundary, if they get away with it, then they'll push it even further and even further and even further. When you set that boundary, don't let no one cross it. Make no exceptions. None. No exceptions. I promise you, it's the person you make exceptions for that usually, not all the time, but usually, will be the one who will continue to expect more and more and more exceptions to be made for them. I see this time and time and time again. It's now, when it comes to work stuff, it's now very rare for me to make exceptions for people. Like I'm not the one that's going to decide the exceptions have these extra privileges and who, you know what I mean? Because I've learned that I suck at boundaries. I've learned that I suck at boundaries. And so what ends up happening is, you know, people know this. And so they'll expect more and more and more and more until it's an actual issue. And these are the very people who, when it's an actual issue and now they need to be reminded of where that boundary is, they'll get upset. They'll get very, very upset. Like, but why are you being mean? Like, no, see, that's the thing. I'm not being mean. We are not being mean. We're reminding you of how far over the boundary line you've gone. You see how that works? When you let them go too far beyond the boundaries you've set, then you become the mean person when you remind them, even if it's gently. When you remind them, like, hey, um, you've gone over the boundary. You need to kind of scooch back a little bit. Now it's mean. You know what I mean? Now you're abandoning them and you are you're being selfish and greedy and all of these things that they accuse you of. I'm not the only person that goes through that type of thing. I feel like anyone who struggles with boundaries, we're going to consistently be brought people. These people are going to be brought into our lives. Our paths will cross with them, and they will be encouraged by our behaviors to cross those boundaries repeatedly to give us an opportunity to learn about boundaries. That's it. It's just a learning opportunity. When you allow yourself to learn, then you learn, then you move forward. Okay. Yes. Yes. This is what I've learned. People are people without exception. Okay. I don't necessarily feel like there's good people or bad people. I feel like there's different types of personalities. Some are very compatible with my personality, others are not so compatible with my personality. And whatever I decide based on personalities and compatibility levels, it has to always, first and foremost, take into consideration my personal needs. Because at the end of the day, the only one I'm actually fully responsible for is me, myself, my behaviors. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind. The people who have no problem doing this are probably sitting here like, oh my God, that's just common sense. I mean, why does she even have to tell us this? Good for you. Okay. Good for you. Many of the empaths that share space with me have a very hard time doing this. Many of the empaths that share space with me absolutely struggle with this in particular. We are givers by nature. And And because of the way we give so wholeheartedly, as though it's not a big deal, we tend to be very good at convincing people who have no problem taking, not receiving, taking. We make them feel like it's okay. It's no big deal. It is a big deal. I'm probably never going to say that. I'm probably never going to say that to someone, but I feel obligated to tell you it's a big deal. What you give to other people is a big deal. Whether it's just someone to listen to them, someone to encourage them, someone to remind them that they matter, it's a big deal. Okay. You need that reminder. You need a reminder that everything you do is a big deal to someone outside of you. And because you're such a big deal and so humble about your big dealness, sometimes you need a reminder. It's okay to be reminded. And no matter how much I try and fluff you up right now with all these compliments and stuff and make you feel good about yourself, I promise you by the time this live stream is done, you'll have forgotten it and you'll go back to this place where it's not a big deal. It's just me being me. When you do things just because you're you, and the things that you do help other people to feel loved and important, that's a big deal. Considering the type of world we live in, that is a very big deal. Okay. It's okay for you to continue to exist as though you're just being yourself, but you do need to hear that. You need that reminder. Ethos. So this seems like for some, you're going into this environment where it's a similar mindset. um So Michael tells me something. So, for the past few days, I have been just the conversations with Marlene have been very hushed. It's just between her and I'm not sharing it on live streams. And Michael says, because today I decided I'm just going to ignore all of her messages today and just focus on the live stream. Um, and I've kind of like closed her off to my ears. Michael said that she's trying to say that I'm misinterpreting some of the cards. So there was this thing of like, going back to the same situation, allowing yourself to repeat the same mistakes and this and that. That's kind of how I took the messages yesterday. um and that might not be what's actually going on. It might be that for some, you're just needing that confirmation that the decision you've made is going to lead you down a path that will bring you to the people who are like-minded, to the people who can like fully support you in your growth. You know what I mean? So that this reading is basically a correction of my misinterpretation yesterday, where you are rejoining or actually um, finding groups or people or whatever that share your same level of integrity, same level of desire for divine dignity to remain intact, Um, ooh, oh, yes. Yes, girlfriend. Mm-hmm. I have a hard time with this, but I've definitely made major progress. Someone is testing me now. I even discussed it with my daughter. She said, say no or book a service. Amen to that. Amen to that. Um, yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things where you're going to have to really stick with that boundary. Okay. Um, so, oh, I didn't mute my, sorry. Yesterday I was out running errands. Uh, hold on. Okay. So yesterday I was out running errands. I was braving the nearest city, and this man came up to us. And, like my heart really, I feel badly for anyone that's going through a difficult time. That's just a person that I am. I always want help. Um, but in that moment, when he asked for money, I'm sorry, I literally don't carry cash, you know? I literally don't carry cash. Um, and I told him, I'm sorry, I don't have any cash. Um, and the thing is this, despite the fact that I don't carry cash, um, oftentimes what I'll do, I'll go back into the store and I'll buy you what you need, or I'll go ahead and I'll withdraw cash at the register. I'll get cash back and I'll give you that. And the thing was, when I was asked by someone, like, what do you do in those situations? Because I don't know if I should or shouldn't. My simple answer is, if I can walk away from you without helping you, even though I'm like, oh, I feel badly for you, I wish the best for you, then that means I wasn't meant to help you. That doesn't mean you don't deserve help. That means your path and my path does not involve that type of interaction. So there are plenty of people that I still will do things for. They don't know that I do readings and energy work for work, and I'll do things for them. I'll offer because that's what my heart encourages me to do. Now, most people, I will no longer do that. That doesn't make me any less of a nice person. It doesn't make me any less of a giving, generous person. That just means I've learned to discern. You enter into places of depletion when all you do is give everything away. That's not how it's supposed to be. And, this is not a popular opinion. People give me crap about this all the time. Just because your gift happens to be energetic does not mean it is not a service. A service is a service is a service. Your gift is for you to take care of you. Now, we don't want to get in like unbalanced with that knowing. You know what I mean? Like, if I really allowed myself to become an unbalanced person, I already know, with a skill set that I have, I could totally woo a whole bunch of celebrities and charge thousands upon thousands of dollars per session. Now, my sessions, yes, they're not easily affordable by just anybody. But anyone who's willing to commit to investing in themselves, yeah, you can make it happen. You can make it happen. And I used to think like, well, since not everyone can afford this, then I need to give a lot more away. Every time I've given something away, the person who has received it has not valued it to the degree that they would have had they taken the time to invest in themselves and pay for that service. That's the sad reality of it. Whenever you give something away, you're sending two unspoken messages, okay? First and foremost, this is a pity party. I feel very, very sadly for you. Like, I pity you. That's a horrible feeling to know that someone pities you. Okay. That's a really horrible feeling for me personally. Like, I don't want people's pity. Second message, I don't believe you have it within you to take care of what you need to do. Like, I don't believe in you. Those are the two messages that are unspoken but are being told to the person receiving it. Now, it's one thing if the person it's just one of those things where it's like a whole bunch, like a series of events has put them in a difficult situation, and they just need like a little bit of help to tide them over. They're trying their hardest. That's one thing. But someone who's chronically in the same type of situation, is it help or is it enablement? Is it help or is it enablement? Because back when I was still just on Facebook, there were specific people that I consistently helped. Yeah. I was consistently either sending them business, purchasing sessions that I knew I didn't need just to support them so they didn't feel like it was a handout, just all kind of different stuff. And it's like, okay, but why are you consistently still in the same situation? Now it's like I'm giving you money every week, and that should have been enough for groceries to last you the whole week. But 2, 3 days later, you're like, you have no money to eat. And it was through those experiences that I began to understand I'm enabling people's very toxic behavior. I'm enabling their sense of helplessness and hopelessness. If you guys can exit and come back if it's frozen, if the video is frozen, and let me know if that helps. Um, right, Archer. Yes, like a crutch not doing themselves. If you don't need a crutch and you continue to use a crutch, you begin to create uh, a handicap where one doesn't exist. Now, like I said, it's not to say that don't ever help anyone because, they're just being late. No, some people actually need help. They just need that little bit of oomph to get them to the next level of their journey, you know? Um, and yeah, if your heart calls you to help, help. But to think that you have to help and give to everyone just because they believe they are entitled to you because you're gifted and now they're entitled to it. Nope. No, that's not how it works. Okay. I've come across too many people who think that they're entitled to things that I can do just because I can do them, just because they're spiritual things. No, that's not how it works. At least not anymore. I'm learning boundaries. I'm learning to love myself in a way where I'm very intentional with what I do. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. That applies to your gifts and how you give it away to other people. Okay. Not everything has to be charged, not everything has to be paid for, but you get to be the one to decide who you will give to, how much you will give, and when you will give. Okay. That's very, very important to learn that. When we're talking about making these decisions that are difficult, you know, it's hard to make and it hurts so much, like me walking away from someone who clearly is having a rough time in life. um it's hard, that hurts to not be able to help someone. But is that my job? Is that why I was born? No, it's not. Ooh, love this, love this. Hold on. Even when I was homeless, living in a tent in the state park, I was homeless, not helpless. I had some sweet people feed me and give me rides to town and stuff. I worked my butt off to get back on my feet. Amen, Brandy. Amen to that. Amun Ra to that. Amen to that. Like, yeah, no. Just because we're structureless does not mean we are less than the people who exist in structures. Homeless does not mean hopeless or helpless. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. Please don't allow anyone to convince you that just because you have less material things, financial opportunities than them, that you are somehow less than, because you're not. I promise you. I promise you, you're not. Okay. You just have to allow your process to teach you what you need to learn so you can exit that cycle. So, ooh, pushing away the guardians and guides, those who came to help us, those who are part of our spiritual team. Sometimes we don't know the things that we don't want to know are really necessary for us to know. Sometimes we don't want to accept it. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to accept it. We don't want to this. We don't want to that. Can I tell you just a factoid about life and soul? Oftentimes, your soul doesn't care what you want. I'm sorry. Yeah, oftentimes your soul really doesn't care about what you want, what your expectations are. There's a specific thing that you need to learn at a specific time frame, and your soul will do whatever it can to encourage the learning. It will do whatever it can, and if it means putting you in uncomfortable positions, if it means causing you to feel just devastated, you know? Okay. If it means all sorts of different things, and that's what it means. If you don't want your soul to put you through that type of circumstance, uh, you have to listen. You have to learn without going through the experience, or else the experience is what's going to teach you. If you can learn without needing to go through the experience, then you don't need to go through the experience. Then you can move on to the next lesson. Cleansing. So someone is cleansing themselves of someone else. This other person is still lurking around you. This other person is still wanting so badly to be allowed back into the pool of your energy. Ooh, hush that fuss. Everybody move to the back of the bus. Ow. 1212. Ooh, alchemist. You can be the very thing that transmute the things that need to be transmuted. You don't necessarily need to have sessions for this. If you're unable to do it yourself, it might be a good idea to like learn how to kind of um, maintain your energy and your frequency on your own. You know, that might be a good thing for you to take the time to learn. Um, I I'm not talking about Reiki. Okay. Uh yeah. I'm just it's up to you if that's what you're drawn to. Um and I don't want to tell people what to do though. Michael says I shouldn't say those types of things because it carries with it the implication that Reiki is an option. I'll tell you guys this, okay? They're now doing Reiki in hospitals, some like progressive type hospitals. They're allowing the contracting of Reiki practitioners and yada, yada, yada. The moment something is allowed to become that mainstream, it's been polluted. Okay. It's been polluted. The problem are not the practitioners, the problem is the Reiki itself. It's a draconian program. It leaves a backdoor entry code in your auric field. That's the equivalent of giving a transient person your garage door opener. You never know when they're going to come. You just never know when they're going to enter your home. Now, that's not to say that all transient people are bad. I've lived as a transient. Technicality, it's technically transient. And I wouldn't do that to anyone. But I mean, why would I want a stranger to have access to my home? And I don't know when. I don't know their intent. Okay. Um, uh, wow. Mm. All right. Containment. Containing people's effects on you and your life. Okay. I just need to breathe for a moment. Allowing ourselves to have the moment of breathing just for a moment. Uh, there are decisions that are needing to be made. They're very difficult, they're very painful. Whatever you decide has to be what's right for you. Whatever you decide has to be what is in the best interest of you. Okay. So here, um, I try to help my sister, but she doesn't want to help herself. I need to put my boundaries in place. I have a baby I need to take care of. And she says I'm mean because she's pregnant and I can't help much. Okay. So, what will your sister do if you helping her causes you and your child to become homeless? Will she get you out of that? What will your sister do, your pregnant sister? What will she do if by giving her funds, you can't pay for your electric and your electricity gets shut off and there's like a $200 reconnection fee that you don't have? What will she do to get you out of that? If you're not in a position to help, you're not in a position to help. And putting yourself in the same horrible position as someone else is not going to help anybody because now everyone's messed up, right? Everyone's in a messed up situation. This is something that we have to really allow ourselves to be aware of. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing Reiki, period, because like I said, the practitioners don't know that they're doing this, but anytime someone uses the codes for Reiki, you're installing by virtue of the Reiki itself, you are installing a backdoor code. You are installing that into someone else's field. Whether you have good intentions, whether you're a good person, that's all of that is irrelevant. All of that is irrelevant. It's like, okay, let's put it in these terms. You want to help someone, right? You're very medically inclined and you have the ability to draw blood so that you can send it to a lab. You know, you've talked to a lab. They're willing to do all the testing for free. All you have to do is draw blood from people and send it to the lab, and that way they can know, like, you know, what they need, what their health problem is, right? And you know, you've gone to someone and you've secured um, some supplies. Well, what they didn't tell you, these supplies are secondhand. When it comes to blood draws, you need sterile, disposable supplies, one time use supplies, right? You don't know that. You don't know that they simply just rinsed everything off. Yeah. And they put it back in new packaging. And that's why they're willing to let you have it for free. You know how to do phlebotomy, right? I mean, but Emmy, I'm pure in my intent. I just want to help people. I can do this. Okay, that's good. You can do that, but your supplies are contaminated. Bloodborne pathogens, you don't want to mess with that. You don't want to mess with that. Oh, but I can soak it in alcohol. Yeah. So I do tattoos when I'm forced to. No, I'm not just going to soak that in alcohol. I'm going to throw that entire needle away. I'm going to autoclave all of the supplies, the ones that I can't throw away. That's going into an autoclave. Yeah. No cross contamination. That is what Reiki is doing. That's what it's doing. So, yeah. Yeah. I didn't want to get into that. Because some people are like, oh, you're just jealous because Reiki this. Okay, first and foremost, let me just put this shit out there. Reiki harnesses harmonic universe one frequencies. That's the base of the base of the base. That's frequency 1, 2, and 3, the base of the base of the base. That's why it doesn't stick. That's why you have to keep doing it. My system, if I'm so jealous, what I teach starts at 12th dimensional frequency. That's enough to penetrate through to your core code. Yeah, I'm jealous. We're not talking about band aids. The difference between Reiki and Kokoro 33, Reiki is triage. Kokoro 33 is neurosurgery. You can't compare the two. Reiki is not a threat to me and my system. It's just not. So it's not about jealousy. It's about you guys needing to realize your desire to help other people is being manipulated. It's being manipulated. You're being used to seed the types of coding that's necessary to infiltrate the people who could potentially be part of the group. That's the hope for human evolution. So, am I interested in gaining clout? If I was interested in gaining clout, I'd get certified in Reiki. I'd play by the rules. I wouldn't give you guys the hard truths because I can actually build an audience very, very quickly. When I first started on YouTube, when I first began live streaming on YouTube, I was very insecure about how people will receive me. I'm very skittish in new environments. So I played by the rules. In the first week, I gained 15,000 subscribers. I could have a ton of subscribers right now if I played by the rule. I'm not here to play by the rules. I'm not interested in the rules. I'm here to just do what I need to do. Mhm. Yeah. I'm just here to do what I need to do. You know, there's so many different things that I could do to gain the clout and the notoriety and this, and I'm not interested literally in any of that. That's like the last thing on my mind. I'm even uncomfortable live streaming. That's why I have attitude half the time. It's true. It's true. Like I want to be making pancakes right now, but I'm live streaming. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know, and you guys aren't the issue. It's just, you know, I want to make clear where I'm rooted, where I'm coming from. Okay? Um like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound. I mean, that's not even effective. Putting a band-aid, you should pack it in. There's stuff you can buy at they're like first aid kits at gun stores, and they're like I forget what it's called. You stick it in, it's almost like a tampon. You stick it in and it expands, and that will help to staunch bleeding. You still need medical attention, obviously, but yeah, it's like field medic stuff. I don't know how I know this. Oh, because the gun store guys, they were like trying to get me to buy more stuff. And I was looking at the first aid kits, and so they were telling me about that. And I was like, I got a first aid kit already. It's like, but this is like ballistics first aid. And I was like, I have sutures. I have liquid stitch and I have actual sutures. Like I'm good. Um, ooh, it's a lessening. Less and less and less. Like, yeah. Um, it's a lessening of your frequency. It's a lessening of your intensity, your personal power. Um, is it lessening because of you? Or is your intensity Is it someone draining you is the concern that I'm having. Is someone intentionally draining you, your energy, your life force? For some of you, choosing to cooperate with someone who um, is very desperate in their attempt to keep a hold on you, uh, that's draining you of your sense of self and personal power. I don't know that it applies to everyone though. Okay. So I'm going to leave it up to you to decide, to discern whether that message is for you or not. You know, don't try and make these messages fit. They either resonate or they don't. Okay. Um, so yeah, that's how all my readings. Don't be like, oh my God, someone's draining me. Who is it? Then probably no one is draining you. But when you hear someone is draining, you're like, oh, I knew they were draining me. Then the message is probably for you. Okay. This is a general reading. So for some people, everything will resonate. For other people, only little bits and pieces will resonate. And yet for other people, absolutely nothing will resonate. Honor how you feel. If something resonates, it's probably for you. If it doesn't resonate, it probably isn't. Respect, reestablishing respect in all directions. Oh, are you compromising to like regain your family's respect? Is that what it is? Like you're afraid that if you don't, let me calm down. Let me just, this is not, no, it's not for me. It's not for me. It's just not for me. Remembrance, ancestors. Your ancestors are speaking to you. They're asking you to remember what they're saying. They're speaking to you. They're attempting to communicate something super important to you. Whatever they're attempting to communicate is going to help you avoid additional unnecessary struggle. If you want that struggle, you're absolutely welcome to experience that struggle. It doesn't affect me either way, you know? I don't need you to listen. I don't need you to ignore. It's really up to you. It's up to you how you're going to receive these messages if they're resonating. But your ancestors, it's almost like this sense of irritation. Like the ancestors are trying so hard to communicate something so important. And it's just, yeah, make sure you listen. Make sure you allow yourself to receive the messages and the guidance that's rightfully yours. When we don't listen to the messages our soul is giving us, what ends up happening is we end up going through so much more than what we actually need to go through to learn what we need to learn. Uh, it's up to you how you want to learn things. Totally up to you. Hold on really quick. I want to pin that comment. Thank you, Maud. Let me clear my throat. Aha, aha, aha. All right. Hold the phone. Let me find it. Here we go. Pin message. All right. There we go. Thank you, Maud. I'm going to be live later today at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If y'all can join me, I'm going to do a fire ceremony. It's a very important one. Very, very important. All right. Oh, dedication in reverse. I don't think this person is dedicated to you. I think they're dedicated to controlling you. That's never going to change. The moment someone gets involved in this cycle of trying to control someone else, it becomes very addictive. Dominating another person I've never done heroin, but I hear that's very addictive. I hear that it's something that you can become addicted to the first time it happens. Uh, yeah, it's like that. I would liken it to that. Um, Another thing is that when you allow someone to do this, you lose such a huge part of yourself that then you become dependent on them. You become addicted to them in order for that, whatever part of you that was taken away, that was lost, to feel full. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a cyclical dependency where they become addicted to controlling you and you become addicted to being controlled. Many of us have addictive personalities. I don't know if you realize that. Whether or not you are addicted to substances, mind altering substances, or addicted to other types of behaviors and yada, 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 then, yeah. Yeah, you collect things, that's a type of addiction. You consistently want to help other people, that's a type of addiction. You consistently look for people who treat you badly. Why do you always end up with a narcissist? That type of addiction. You're addicted to that type of behavioral pattern. It gives you a hit of certain types of situations that then trigger your brain chemistry and your hormonal chemistry to return back to certain states. That's a type of addiction. Okay. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful. I know I have an addictive personality. That's why I haven't tried most substances out there. I don't even drink. I don't take prescription antibiotics or any of that. Yeah. No, I'm good. And my thing is, I can easily become addicted to people. So I have to make sure that I don't do that. Okay. Like, no, that's no, no. That's a big no, no. Okay. It's okay for you to be aware of who you are and how you function. I can easily become addicted to other people's drama and seek to find solutions for you and fix your entire life and this and that. I'm not fixing anything. I'm just addicted to the sense that I can have that type of power over your life. Ooh, you hear that? I have control issues. I've gone a long way with that needing to control other people. I don't do that so much anymore. I rarely do that, actually. Okay. But it still exists. I still have to be aware that that's how I function. It still exists within me. You know what I realized? Since I can't control people who are not destabilized, I can look for people who are destabilized. And now you're dependent on me and I have the control. Now, I don't use it to make you feel bad about yourself, but I do use it so I can feel like I have a proper place in your life. And when I realized that I was doing that, then I realized, okay, that control issue is still there. I just found a different way to express it, to satisfy it. So now I don't do that either. Now my control issues are focused strictly on me, my growth, my health, how much I can cultivate my sense of self, how much I can understand and reinforce my healthy boundaries, all of that. Once you have this issue, you'll always have the issue. It's the way it is expressed, the way it is experienced that shifts throughout your lifetime. It doesn't mean you're a bad person if you have struggles with control, self control, self regulation, any of that. It just means those are the things you need to pay attention to within yourself and within your life. Why is it important for me to know that I have issues with control? Because when I allow myself to be honest with myself and acknowledge that I have issues with control, now it's controlling me, not controlling other people, but controlling myself. Then I can be honest with myself and find the root causation of why I need to control. You know what I discovered? I have control issues because for most of my childhood I felt like I had no control, no voice, no say, no nothing. It caused me to feel very helpless and very weak inside of myself. As a way to overcompensate for that internal situation, I began to control my external situation. Much of my control issues manifested as obsessive compulsive type behavior. All the cans have to be completely straight. The closet needs to be organized by the length of the sleeves and the colors within each category and all of that. And all the hangers have to be the same color. Mm-hmm. Yep. All the clothes have to be folded a specific way and it has to be stacked in a specific way based on the sleeves, then subcategory of colors within the sleeve length. Yeah, no, that's too much. That's too much. That's too much. And when I began to see that I was creating issues for my children, because, all right, now all of your toys have to be color coordinated and they have to all be carefully stacked inside specific bins with specific labels. And you can only play with one bin at a time. Before you access something from another bin, you have to put all of this back into the bin, the proper color, and all of that. That's not okay to force children to live that way. It's not. It's not okay. And because my children's health means more to me than soothing my internal fears that really I needed to address, that's what gave me the courage to actually begin addressing it. Now, that obsessive compulsive type behavior, minimal. I no longer sanitize everything. Yeah, I used to sanitize everything twice a day. Yeah, crazy. It's crazy. The behaviors were crazy. Like, I didn't understand how crazy my behaviors had gotten, how out of control they had gotten. Why had they gotten out of control? Because I needed to make a difficult decision. And that decision was going deep within myself to see what was fractured inside of me so that I could begin understanding what I needed to heal inside of me, what I kept projecting out into my environment. And how was I projecting it? By trying to find the very people who were reflections of the ways in which I was silently suffering. I was looking for reflections of me. Doesn't make you a bad person when you do this. It means you're being prepared to finally begin healing yourself. It's much easier to find a reflection of you and you're not as fully emotionally invested in that as you are in yourself. So, with that, you can help and try out some plausible potential type of solutions and see how it works. And then eventually, when you're finally ready, you can then apply those same techniques to you and your healing. But you have to be aware first. This is why you seek those people out, because they're reflections of the parts of you that you're afraid to acknowledge is hurting and broken. Parts of you are broken. You are not broken. Parts of your perception, parts of your functioning, parts of how you receive yourself, how you function in your environment could be fractured. It doesn't mean you as a whole being are broken. Those are completely different things. So it's like your fridge. A refrigerator is a very important component of a house, right? Your fridge is broken. Is the whole house broken? No, it's just the fridge. Are we going to fix the fridge by demolishing the second story? No, we're not. Are you going to fix the fridge by completely reorganizing the garage? No, we're not. You have to know what's broken, what's not functioning properly, in order to be able to fix it. Are you fixing things within yourself because you're broken? Because it's broken? I don't do that. Whatever I fix within myself is because I deserve to live in much more peace than what I can live in with that not functioning properly. If my sense of self is fractured, I can't actually live in a place of peace within myself. I will continue to see myself in a very distorted manner, in a manner that is not honoring the truth of the gravity of me. Unless I fix that, I'm going to continue to live in a very uncomfortable way. The way I see myself, the way I treat myself, it will never be what I need because I don't know what I need if I can't see myself clearly. A decision has to be made. It's a difficult decision. It's something that's painful. When you begin to look at the places in which you've been fractured, what fractured you, who fractured you, how long you've been fractured, that hurts. To be able to see how long you've been living in that way is painful. It's painful. But boy, oh boy, it's the sweetest type of pain to be able to remove the splinter that's continued to hurt you and fester. Receiving that splinter, it's a split second. It's in there. It's uncomfortable. Every time it gets touched, it's uncomfortable. Removing that splinter, oh my goodness. If it's completely underneath the skin, how are you going to remove that? You're going to have to slice the skin a little bit. Now, you can use a needle to kind of cause abrasions, controlled abrasions that will expose the tip. But if you're not doing it properly, if you've never had the experience, you run the risk of pushing it deeper into your flesh. So then what am I trying to say here? You learn the solutions you need for what you need through life's experiences. How do I know this? Was I taught this? No. I learned this because I did that. I ran the needle the wrong way and I ended up pushing that splinter deeper into my skin. And I learned as a child how to remove splinters on my own through my life experience. I also figured out how to remove bee stings. Same damn thing. Same damn thing. It's your very life experiences with other people or on your own that's helping you learn how to fix yourself, how to heal yourself. I don't even like to use the word fix because it's kind of like broken. You're not. Just a few things are not functioning at their optimal levels. Make those tweaks, make those little modifications, those shifts so you can function at your optimal levels. You deserve to. Intention. What's your intention as you go through this? What's the actual intent? What is your goal? What are you trying to achieve? If you don't know what your goal is, you need to pause. You need to stop. Just because time is ticking doesn't mean you should keep running. Because if you're running in the wrong direction, however far you get, going in the wrong direction is however far you will need to backtrack just to get back to your starting point. Pause, assess. What direction are you headed and why? Why do you need to turn that way? If you don't have the answer, don't keep walking. Pause. That's one of the most powerful things you could do. What parasitic things like to convince people is that you have to hurry up and do it. Why? Why do you have to hurry up and do it? Because you have to hurry up and do it. You know what I realize? Parasitic things want you to hurry up and do it because they want you to do it before someone can stop you and talk some sense into you. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? You know, they want it to be done with before someone can intervene to protect you. But we can't just keep running. If you're excessively busy all the time, there's a huge potentiality that you're running away from your life in the processing of it. I recognize that a lot of my busyness before had to do with that. Now I'm busy because that's how my schedule is, but I still make sure by the end of each day to go ahead and make time to assess what's happened that day, how it's affected me, if there's anything that I need to shift within myself, excuse me, who I've become that day, were my behaviors things that made me feel like I evolved just a little bit more, or were they behaviors that made me feel like I devolved just a little bit more? And devolving is not necessarily a bad thing, like backtracking on that evolutionary path. Some people are like, oh, you just got to keep going. No, why? Every direction I go is an important one. I have to know why. Okay. So, what am I trying to say? Well, a little backslide's not going to hurt me. Whenever I backslide a little bit, that's evidence for me that I'm being prepared to be launched forward, because really that backward momentum, the pulling of the arrow and the bow, loads a charge, and that very charge is what will be amplified as it launches you forward. But I'm not going to just be running in the wrong direction because I don't want to stop. That's nonsensical. That's nonsensical. So you have to be very intentional in what you're doing. Like, there's times where I'm not intending to be the arrow. I just realize I'm backsliding. And it's like, okay, pause. What's happening? Why am I behaving so badly today? And it's not me being a bad person. It's me not living up to the potentiality I know I can have. Potentiality pertaining to my grace towards myself, grace and compassion towards other people, you know? Like earlier today, I think it was last night, I had made a post on Facebook. I'll share this with you guys. I had made a post on Facebook, right? It was a simple question. Have you noticed your hair thinning so much these past few months? And a lot of people were commenting because I'm curious. I'm curious who else is experiencing this. And someone who was I guess a friend on Facebook, I've never interacted with this person, says they're cranking up the 5G, and everyone who took the killer jab will most likely die this winter. Like, when influenza A and B hits, and then they will blame it on the non-vaccinated. It got this far because 90% of you are sheeple and believe everything the fake mainstream media tells you because you're too ignorant to do your own research. And then he goes on to say, the vaccines have graphene oxide in them and nanobot technology, because he's like doing caps lock on specific words. I'm trying to respect his caps locks. That's controllable by 5G. And there's also HIV, rabies, and now scientists in India have stated that they even found Ebola in the vaccine vials. This is NWO global genocide, depopulation agenda. Okay, so my response, you can calm the actual fuck down for real. You don't get people to listen to you by being a total dick. Learn that so more people can benefit from what you share. Looking at your pics, because I went on their profile, looking at your pics tells me you're unhealthy as fuck. regardless of Vex stance. So, like I said, you can calm the actual fuck down. And then I blocked him. I blocked him. Because fuck you. First off, my question did have to do with frequency modulation and whether I agree with him or not. No, you don't get to be a dick on my profile. Okay. Okay. I know why people got to be like, hello, sheeple. When you use that term, you're so early 2000. That's so early 2000s. It's almost 2022. You just joined on the bandwagon, didn't you? That's why you're so passionate about your venom. You're so passionate with your venom because you just started. Calm down. You didn't even say if your hair was falling out. That was the question. You guys, please, if you find me on Facebook, I mean Nicolina Garcia, please share out that post. Share out that post because I want to see how many people's hair is falling out. I think a lot of people's hair is falling out. Like, you can see my scalp all the way back to here. The fudge. I mean, yeah, my hair's been shedding for a long time, but yeah, this is excessive. Look at that. I don't know if that's a bald patch at this point or what, but that's a whole lot of scalp for me, yo. That's a whole lot of scalp. So I'm just curious, who else is experiencing that? Like, I'm not interested in any vaccine debates. Okay. I'm not interested in anyone who wants to use the term sheeple and this and that. You sound like a fucking idiot. You do. You sound like an idiot. You know, the whole truther thing, that was so literally early 2000s. Okay. The whole like do your research. Where are you doing your research? You're using Google? Okay, your research fucked. I'm just saying. Okay. Your research is fucked. I don't want to hear about your fucking research unless it comes from Tor. Mm-hmm. Unless you're using Tor, I don't want to hear shit about what you research. The only people I want to hear shit from about what they researched are my girlfriends because they actually are intelligent. I'm not joking. They're the only ones who can use these terms, and I don't feel like you're full of shit. Mm-hmm. When my girlfriends use these terms, and there's only a couple of them, it feels accurate. It feels appropriate. Everyone else, you can suck a dong. I don't want none of your toxicity. Suck a dong. Suck a dong. Gurgle it. Okay? I'm sick of people being nasty like that just because you think you know something. You don't know enough. Ya don't know enough. If you're using the term sheeple, fuck out of here with your shit. Okay, Clarence, sweep them away. If it can't sweep away, beat him with a stick. Don't do that. Ooh. Oh, if you brush your hair regularly every morning and it stops falling out, it's probably because it's getting stuck in the brush. And if you tie your hair back a lot, the tension has a tendency to pull out the hair more for some people. And on top of that, you also have to factor in that you naturally shed hair throughout the day and it's caught. It doesn't fall off you without you knowing. So that's why it seems like you're losing more. But this goes beyond that. Like beyond that normal shedding. It's crazy. I'm not sure what it is. I have my speculation, but I can't say it publicly. Let me tell you guys something, okay? The people who actually do credible research using channels that provide them true anonymity, they're not posting anything publicly using profiles that have their picture. Okay? They're not. When people try and like, no, I know because I've done the research and yada yada yada. Okay, is that your real picture? Oh, you got your your kids too are on there, huh? Oh, and your grandchildren. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Now I'm gonna do a reverse search. And if I find another profile with those pictures and a different name, and they actually have family connections established, and those family profiles also have your pictures, then maybe you're, troll of the highest degree, and maybe I'll listen to you. But short of that, I think you're full of shit. I think you're full of shit. You're just a puppet. They've infiltrated into the truther communities. So here's the thing. Let me tell you guys. All of this was pre-planned for multiple generations before it actually was put into play. Okay. If you want to talk about Illuminati, they're generational. Their children are indoctrinated into the program from infancy. They are generational. True secret societies are generational. They don't let new people in. Okay. The grandfather knows whatever he can do in his lifetime, he will do, and his progeny will carry his work on. He's perfectly fine not being present when it actually gets put into play. Okay. That's the truth of what's actually happening. Multiple generational type of plans are being put into play. Now, part of that was the recognition of neurodivergence. Who are neurodivergents? People who think outside of a box. There's no box for these people. They're hard to control. They're hard to predict because they're divergent in their processing. You cannot predict them. It's very difficult. Very difficult. So, what do? Well, these are the people who will either become spiritual or will seek truth. First, you infect the spiritual people. You infected that enough. What's the next thing? Because not everyone's going to be spiritual, right? Well, let's go ahead and infect this truther movement. Yeah. Energetic parasites have infiltrated the truther movement. Yeah. Yeah. So when you use terms like sheeple, you don't even really know what it means. Oh, you're like sheep. Okay. Why do you call people sheep? Because they're being led to slaughter? They don't slaughter sheep. They harvest the wool. So you don't even really know what you're participating in. That's a very archaic practice. It's called the scapegoat. It's a very archaic Middle Eastern practice where you take a sheep, a lamb, the baby form of a sheep, a lamb, you take it to the highest point you could possibly reach in your region. You affix all of your sins onto that sheep and you toss it over. What's that associated with? A specific demonic being. Yeah. That specific demonic being was later referred to as Shaitan, which is archaic form of Satan. You're participating in Satan's program. Didn't know that, did you? They infiltrate any group that neurodivergence will be drawn to. Just because you're neurodivergent does not mean you'll know that they've infiltrated it. And that's okay. You don't need to know everything. But I tell you, you're not going to be shitting on my profile. You're not. I was simply asking about people losing hair. So, homecoming is upside down. My God. I had to get it with my toes. I got monkey ass toes. It's amazing. I could do a lot of things with my toes. It's because I have long toes. What? Homecoming is upside down. It's upside down. It's an upside down thing. We have to make sure that we create the kind of space that we need for ourselves. Talking about all that made me really exhausted. So exhausted. Yeah. Yeah. So, why would they do all of this? They're attempting to geolocate certain types of bloodlines, you know? They're attempting to geolocate at certain types of bloodlines. What do I mean by this? These are people who are part of a specific etheric bloodline. They want these people and they want to try and corrupt these people because there's technology that needs these bloodlines, etheric bloodlines, in order to function. These are the bloodlines that are not corruptible. That bloodline, they can't just use the blood. It has to be living blood. It has to be coursing through the veins. It has to be conscious free will. And that's why all of these programs exist. They're trying to weed out, root out, much like pigs looking for truffles. These governmental pigs running their snouts through the ground. These are people who are valuable. Why? They carry the Christic code. They're the ones who are susceptible to the frequencies that are being modulated, atmospheric frequencies. They're fucking with the atmosphere. This hair loss, along with other symptoms that I really don't want to go into, are indicative of low-grade radiation. Those who are of a Christic level of consciousness are susceptible to this type of poisoning. Michael says stop. I'll stop. Card number 15, big bold vision. Have a big bold vision with your life. Allow yourself to see things that you want to happen. Visualize it, see it happening, see these beautiful changes happening for you in your life, and then get out of your own way. Okay? Get out of your own way. Allow yourself to experience the things you need to experience. La 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 la. Jesus loves me. Oh, yes, he does. Jesus loves me. Oh, yes, he does. Jesus loves me. Don't disappoint Jesus. Be good. Behave yourself. Card number 13, power of attraction. You're bringing to yourself the things, experiences that you need to experience. See, releasing allegiances in reverse. You're holding on to things that you really don't need to hold on to, but that's up to you. That's up to you. It's like trying to climb a mountain while holding a bag of Skittles. You know what I'm saying? It's like doing that. So I don't know if that's effective. Card number 27, receiving. Allowing yourself to receive the truth and the guidance that you need. Okay. I don't know what that is. You know what that is. You can feel it resonate within you. Okay. You can feel it resonating within you. Look at how thin that is. I'm going to shave it all off. I don't give a shit. I don't. Oh, I was buying wigs earlier. Did I miss a cutoff time? Damn. I think I missed the cutoff time. It's supposed to be delivered today. Let's see. Now it can't be delivered today. Girl, why does your brain function that way? I missed my cutoff time. Okay, card number 9. What do you feel? In reverse. This tells me you're not listening to what you feel. You're not listening to your own guidance. That's up to you, though. You know, you want to learn it the hard way, and that's okay. hard way is how I learn, and it helps me to learn in a much more amplified, elevated, deepened, ripened manner. So, but it's going to be harder. It's going to be harder. Okay. Card number 26, relax the whole darkness and be at cause. There's dark stuff swirling around you. Okay. There are dark intentions, um, lack of integrity, all sorts of different things just swirling around you. And you're going to have to know what to do with that. You're going to have to know how to navigate through your own life. You can't rely on someone else all the time. You can't just keep relying on videos and tarot readings and all of that. You have to begin taking accountability and making these decisions for yourself. Like, don't get me wrong, I really love when you guys join me, but I can't serve that kind of function in your life. It's robbing you from your own sovereign power. Okay. Now, if you come here and you're just helping me, not letting me help by confirming what your soul had already told you, like last night or right before the live stream started, that's one thing. But if you're coming here like, I mean, you need to tell me what to do. No, that takes your personal power from you. You can't go from one person and liberate yourself from that person only to offer yourself to someone else in that way. That's not freedom. You went from one oppressor to the other. See, people who were once super, super religious and then it became cool to be spiritual. They're like, oh, I'm a free thinker now. Now I'm spiritual. But now spiritual people are the ones telling you how to live. It's no longer the priests and the preachers and whatever else they're called. You went from one form of slavery into another. No, 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 no. Okay. Don't just keep doing that. See, I was thinking of you when I was picking out wigs. They're cosplay wigs. Super colors. I was just like, I should do some fun stuff. I don't know where all my wigs are, so I thought I would get some, but I guess I'm not going to now. That sucks. Card number 38, restore and replenish. Allowing yourself to pause. You need to pause. That's the main thing. Before you make any decisions, pause. Because it's the sense, Marlene is like, whoever this is to you will show you their intentions if you pause, because they feel like you're finally back on board. You know what I mean? You're back on the team. You're on board. And if you pause, then they're going to be like, what do you mean? They're going to give you attitude. They're going to be pissed again. And you're going to see, no, they weren't trying to work it out. They were telling you whatever you needed to hear in order to entrap you again. If you like to be trapped, by all means. Some people like that. If you like that, at least just be honest with yourself. Like, I like it. Okay. That's what you like. Okay. Make a decision, stick with it. But right now we're being encouraged, pause. Whatever it is, just pause. Before you actually go through with what you decided, before you fully commit to that decision, pause. Pause and let yourself really feel how their energy shifts towards you when they realize they're not going to get what they want immediately. Okay. This saved me. 1 year, I was crazy enough to be like, oh, I feel bad for this couple because they're living in a trailer with a hole in it. And I just have to put tarp over it. And he's disabled. I don't want to help them. So, what I'm going to do, like a fucking idiota, I offer the RV that I was living in to them. And I was going to do a whole fundraiser in order to completely redo the RV that I was living in because it was old as well. And it was like, and then I was going to try and figure out where I could live. But they were going to I was going to give it to them. Where I was living, I was going to give to them. I was still gung ho about it. And Michael told me, announce on the live stream that you're being asked to pause. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not allowed to do that anymore? And he's like, just say you have to pause. Okay. So I did. I was still gung-ho secretly, though. I was super gung-ho. I was making plans. I was talking to an RV repair shop, everything. Oh, this girl had a fit, was talking mad shit about me because she thought I had changed my mind. Oh, okay. So you weren't actually grateful. You were just saying whatever you thought I wanted to hear to get me to continue with this plan that would benefit you and deplete me. There are people who exist who are like that. Okay? So pause, and you'll see what is their true intention. You'll be able to see it. They'll show you. Because people who are like that, once they think their opportunity to get one over on you has been spoiled, oh, they're going to have an absolute meltdown over it. They're going to be really mad. Really, really, they won't be able to control themselves. Good. So you can see whatever you need to see to make the proper decision for you. Okay? Make the proper decision for you, what's healthiest for you. Yeah, you haven't been going beyond normal. You're just feeding into the same cycles. For whoever this reading is for, you're just feeding into the same cycles. The word wants to be written, but you don't want to see. A communication wants to take place, but you don't want to see it. You don't want to participate in it. And everything has to respect that decision that you've made. Okay. But just know what I'm being like led to feel is that whatever this communication is, it's something that carried with it the potentiality of really making progress for your self healing. That's up to you. Maybe you're not ready to heal. Some people have identified as a wound for so long that healing is a very scary thing. Marlene says, say it again. Some people have identified as a wound for so long that healing becomes a very scary thing, because if you are your wound, if that is your identity and you heal that, do you suddenly cease to exist? You suddenly cease to exist as a wound, but you don't cease existing. So it's very understandable why someone would be too afraid to heal. Push beyond that fear. Push beyond it. Okay? Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is what you do when you're staring your fear directly in the eyes. You deserve to know what is behind that fear, not the root causation, but the type of growth, healing, and reclamation of your personal power that will occur once you push past that blocked fear. Okay? Release a dark wound and let love live. When you continue to hold on to someone that continues to wound you, they are the dark wound. You have to release that dark wound and let love live. You haven't done that. If this is for you, the card is in reverse. That means you're continuing to hold on to that rotten fish, that rotten seafood. Okay? That's nasty. What you want wants you. You don't even want to acknowledge what you want. That's the gist of that card in reverse. You don't even want to acknowledge that you want something or someone. It's this sense of settling for whatever you can, because it's there, it's available, it's easy. Everything that's worth it will not be easy. Not when you're trying to establish it. Not when you're trying to put the pieces together. Yeah. That's up to you, though. Whatever you want, that's what you're going to do. Card number 18, spirals of manifestation. You're manifesting the very experiences that are going to grow you. Now, you choose. You want to grow yourself through severe struggle, elevations in adversity, or in a more gentle way. No matter what, you're going to grow. No matter what, you're going to grow. Even if you delay this process, all you're doing is delaying it. You can't actually stop the growth. If something is not destined to be lifelong, there's nothing you can do to make it lifelong. There's just nothing you can do to make it lifelong. How many of us have had a pet that we are so attached to, but they're very, very sick? And so we spend thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars on testing and medications and all of this and all of that, only in the end to need to put our pet down. When it's time for something to expire, we don't get a say in that. Okay? Now, just a few months back, my old girl, she's like what, 13 now? 14? She's getting old. We thought she might have a brain tumor. She had all the symptoms. And then my son did some research and he's like, it could be this as well, which is a severe inner ear infection. And we were ready to put her down because I was like, we can't do that to her. We can't make her suffer like that. And luckily, there were no vet offices that were available to come to our place to put her down at home because we didn't want her to be scared. We wanted her to be at home with us. And when someone was finally available, several days had passed and none of the vets would take any new patients. So it's not like we let her suffer just because we didn't want to take her to a vet's office. No, I was calling literally everywhere. And either they weren't available to come to us or they weren't accepting patients to come to their office. And several days later, I found someone who would come to us the following day. And what happened? That same night, the night before this vet was going to come to our house to put her down, she like miraculously improved, which is evidence of an inner ear infection. Everything worked out the way it needed to. We even got her a tomahawk steak for her last meal. This shit was huge. And it became her celebratory steak. I knew if it was time for her to go, it was going to be time for her to go. We were not going to be spending thousands upon thousands of dollars to keep her alive just to suffer. Because if it's a brain tumor, it's a very low survival rate. And the older the dog, the worse it is. We are not going to do that to her. Instead, our kids were like, we're just going to spend as much time with her as possible before the vet gets here. We're going to just hella love on her. All of us were very sad. But it turns out it wasn't time for her to leave. One day it will be. Whatever day that is, we'll spend as much time with her until that day. She'll be a part of our family until that day. She's a total pain in the ass because she's reached an age where she just really doesn't give a shit what you tell her to do. She's just like, I'm going to do whatever I want. You take her out to go potty, she's just staring at the stars. She's sun gazing right now. Don't bother her. Just staring at the sky for 20 minutes. Like, homie, do you need to pee or what? She don't care what you say. You call her, she'll just look at you like, what you gonna give me if I come? But that's who she is now. You cannot force something to stay in your life for longer than it needs to be, longer than what your soul planned for it to be. It's when we try and hold on to things we're not meant to have that we begin to put ourselves in positions that hurt the most. And in the end, you'll still find your hands are empty because whatever you held on to, just like that sand, it slips through your fingers. There's nothing you can do to stop it. There's really just nothing. Okay? So I got to get going because now there's no point in making pancakes. It's too late in the day. If you could please give this video a thumbs up, that would be amazing. If you haven't already, please do subscribe, turn on that notification bell, join me when I'm live. I'm going to be live later on today to do a fire ceremony. It's a portal date. And I hope you guys can come. I'm going to do a fire ceremony. I have fire blessings, a whole bunch of different activations. I hope you guys can make it. So I'll see you guys later today, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you would like to purchase an expedited request, I believe I have the comment pinned here for that live stream. And if you go to that link, in that live stream, there's another pinned comment that takes you to my website where you can go ahead and get an expedited request if that's something you want. And yeah, with that, I'm going to get going. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Please ask around, see if anyone else has lost their hair, if their hair has been falling out. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who are experiencing this. Super curious the severity. I'd love to do like some sort of tracker, not to track you, but to calculate the severity of the hair loss, the number of people affected, and where they're positioned in relation to cellular towers. That would be a cool little thing. That would be really cool to know. Yeah, I mean, all we can do is what we can do, which is eat healthier, live healthier, have a healthier mindset, and just really try our best to love ourselves as much as possible. Okay. Try and be as loving with yourself in your process as you possibly can. Your friend got completely bald in 2 weeks. Jesus loves me. Oh, yes, he does. Let me just end the live. Woo! All right. I'll let you guys go. I hope you have